And I'll start with you, Chris. What is a healthy relationship? When we talk about a healthy relationship, really, what are we talking about?
Well, you're talking about a relationship where, first of all, people have made a good choice. They've actually got a partner who matches them in lots of characteristics. You're also talking about a relationship where people are fundamentally honest, that they are agreed to live their lives as a team, and they are open with one another. They don't have another agenda. Now, you get a lot of relationships where they start off like that, then they become hollowed out because maybe they begin to develop different agendas, maybe they begin to focus on their work, dare I say it, on other aspects of their lives. And then you get over right into the really difficult area of the people who don't really want to be in a relationship at all. They're not in it for permanence. They're in it for heaven knows what, but it's short term, and unfortunately they're in a relationship, but they're not treating it as such.
Okay.
It's not their main priority.
Caro, do you agree that the minute agendas go separate ways, and that relationship is due for a clinic? Needs to be checked.
Yes, because as long as you don't have the same priorities, the same goals, the main ones, the same principles, then it means you'll always be differing, right? If your priority is work 24/7 and you never see your wife, you never see your children, then what time do you have to spend together to agree on things? And maybe when you met, you had agreed on a similar set of goals. Then as you're growing together, that changes. Your directions change, and one person is going towards the left and the other to the right. So what happens is you end up getting a lot of arguments, a lot of fights, bad communication, aggressive, aggressive communication. And that means essentially that you cannot relate, you cannot agree. And a number of times that's why we end up seeing couples, because it reaches a point you can't be in the same room and even hear what the other person is saying. You've reached a point of no return unless there's a neutral party there, like to actually translate what is being said.
Okay, assuming that these two come together and at the first point they're actually happy, they're enjoying, possibly they have the same agenda, then it changes down the road. How does one tell that our agendas are now beginning to drift apart? Because I'm sure it happens over time.
You see, when you first meet someone, think about it, when two strangers meet, you're portraying your best self, right? And then it's as you get to know each other, as you become friends and develop a relationship and possibly get married, then you actually see a person's true character, right? A person's true personality. So it could be that at the beginning, it looked like I could meet your needs. And then along the way, when now we've decided we're together forever, you realize this is not the person I married. This is not what I signed up for. This is something totally different. I signed up for commitment, communication, faithfulness. And all of a sudden, I find out this man has been unfaithful, or the woman has been unfaithful, or is drinking the whole night, and you did not know this before you got married. So a number of times it's that along the way we display our true selves.
Okay. Ken, is there a way of having this conversation before you get yourself into this mix and find out that you're so deep in you can't get out? Is there a way of having this thrashed out right at the beginning?
You know, relationships are like ladders to the clouds. Yeah, there's nowhere it stops. And when you start climbing up that ladder, the beauty of a relationship is that both of you are climbing up. If one of you remains behind different agenda, like Chris says, and you're doing different things, then maybe you'll have a problem, because you might go too far up, and then you have to like look for the other person to try and lift them, you know, to follow you. But as you climb up this ladder, the measure of a relationship, the beauty of it is the satisfaction you get from each other. Yeah, because nobody else will observe it for you. They'll make their comments, people will say all sorts of things. But as long as the two of you are enjoying it, and the idea of a ladder is that you're improving, you know, not stagnating, not getting worse, then your life is set. But in the process, as you do that, sometimes you might realize the ladder misses a rung somewhere. And maybe you're going to climb it, and then you realize, uh-oh, I can't do this, so somebody else has to do that. The other person in the relationship has to do that for you. And the only way to tell if something is going wrong is when you climb over that rung without the other person's help. Then they end up remaining behind, you know. So you'll always have indicators which are all over. But the problem with quote-unquote falling in love is that you might never see it. That is the problem with falling in love. I think Chris always
You're
tells us
blind.
these things, that sometimes then you realize too late. Yeah, when you should have run for the hills earlier. Yeah, but you realize you're already, you know, like too deep or too high up. And so it becomes very difficult. The signs are always there, you know, especially at the beginning. When you realize after an evening session, when you're driving away, you're thinking, what just happened there? Yeah, so yeah, nothing is making sense to you. Then you're in a bad place.
Yeah.